Hello and welcome to this week's TA Lightning Charts episode. My name is Trent Carroll, founder and Chief Market Strategist here at TA Capital Research. Quick introduction before we dive in. TA Lightning Charts is a new weekly segment where we highlight the top 10 charts we believe you should be watching right now, all in less than 10 minutes. And before we jump in, I'll go ahead and pause here for you to take a look at our disclaimer. All right, and our first chart, this is the US dollar index, that is ticker DXY. We can see that there was a break of the $100 pivot support level back in April, May, followed by a weakening dollar over the next couple months. While we have seen some short-term weakness within this chart, that longer term trend continues to hold dating back to 2011. So this is a 14-year rising support level. We continue to see higher highs and higher lows, but if this rising support level cannot hold, if price does break below that support, there is room for pullback into the $89 pivot below. But for now, higher highs and higher lows continue to be within this overall bullish trend. Next, we have the S&P 500 versus the emerging markets. So we are seeing that this chart is showing a break of rising support, signaling emerging market leadership. All throughout 2025, we continue to highlight within our TA Global Leadership Report our risk-on approach to the emerging markets. And this rising support break just shows the acceleration and could see pullback within this relative chart into that pivot level below for more leadership within emerging markets and more lagging price action within the S&P 500. Next, we have the value factor versus the S&P 500. We see a double bottom here, followed by a breakout of downtrend resistance a few weeks ago. The last time we saw value leadership within the S&P 500 was during the pullback earlier this year, the April lows. And also within this chart, there is room to run. So within this chart, ideally we see some higher lows and higher highs formed out of the breakout. If we do see that, there is room to the pivot level above for continuation. Next, we have small caps versus large caps. So small caps are peaking over a 4.5-year downtrend resistance level within the relative chart. We initially highlighted this breakout within our TA Style and Factor report back in September. While we do see the breakout here, this chart does still have the lower highs and lower lows trend. So ideally, this breakout would trend reverse. So we'd see a higher low formed on any pullback for higher highs and higher lows formed afterwards. There's room to that pivot level above that we highlighted as well if this trend reversal does get confirmed. Next, we have the iShares Russell 2000 ETF, ticker IWM. This is the daily chart. So we just highlighted the breakout in the relative chart for small caps versus large caps. So here's just that small cap picture individually. So we have the breakout into new all-time highs this week over the 245, 246 pivot level. We've seen incredible strength off of the April lows with price trending higher over the 20-50-day moving averages over the last 5 months. We need to see this breakout hold. So we ideally see price continue to hold over 245, 246, confirming that breakout over that resistance level. On any pullback, we would love to see 245 hold for confirmation that previous resistance has turned current support. If we do see weakness below 245, however, that could signal a failed breakout. At that point, we're watching the 20-50-day moving averages as trend support. But for now, this breakout continues to hold, and new all-time highs have been made this week. Next, we have the Healthcare Select Sector, ticker XLV. This is the weekly chart. We see a strong breakout over downtrend resistance and pivot resistance over the last couple weeks. And this has now been the strongest sector over the last week, aligning with that breakout over 139. Similar to small caps, we are proceeding with caution. This breakout has not changed the overall trend of lower lows and lower highs. So ideally, any pullback within healthcare, we see that 139 pivot hold, or really any pullback, we'd see a higher low formed in this chart, confirming that trend reversal. And next we have iShares US Pharmaceuticals versus Healthcare. So we just highlighted that breakout in healthcare. So what is the strongest industry within that sector that is currently breaking out? Healthcare, and that's going to be the pharmaceuticals. So we have pharmaceuticals within this relative chart breaking out of this base, and that leadership aligns with the new all-time highs for pharmaceuticals, ticker IHE. You can take a look at that. But pharmaceuticals are currently leading this momentum within healthcare. Next, we have Roku Inc. That is ticker ROKU. This is the weekly chart. We can see that price is testing a major long-term resistance level around $105. A successful break higher could result in a 40% move higher than the chart, pushing price over $140. There is a strong trend of higher lows from the 2023 lows. So we continue to see higher lows. We just need to see that pivot breakout over $105 for confirmation, and that breakout could lead to some long-term acceleration within this chart. Next, we have the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index, ticker SOX. This is the daily time frame. This really just highlights that leaders continue to lead. Semis they're up 100% off of the April lows. Every week within our TA sector rotation report, we continue to highlight that technology has been and continues to be the strongest sector within the S&P 500, currently up over 40%, and semis continue to lead within that leading sector. And lastly, we have the iShares MSCI Saudi Arabia ETF, ticker KSA. This is the weekly time frame. We can see that price is testing a 3-year downtrend resistance level, threatening a break higher. There's a clear risk level here with the $36 pivot below. Taking a look back at 2019, that was previous resistance. Breakout 2021, support test 2022, 2022 and 2023. And then also earlier this year, 2025. A successful break higher, and this does have room for a push into the $45 pivot level above. That's the 2024 highs. That wraps up this week's TA Lightning Charts. If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. We'll be posting these videos every week, keeping it fast-paced and focused on the most actionable charts across the financial markets. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in next week's episode.